Well, hey there, VC or anyone who might find themselves watching this video. Sorry, it's been a long time since I did a vinyl collection update video, but since going to a record show today and last Saturday, where I spent too much money on too many records and went totally overboard, I thought it was about time I did an update. So, for those interested, stick along for some nice, tasty reissues and some cool originals. What you heard in the background in the beginning is the wonderful one album band or solo artist. I'm not quite sure if it's a band or a solo artist. Certainly looks like a solo artist cover, and it's called Zacharias or Zacharias. I'm not too sure how to pronounce it. This is the rarest album on Deram, the subdivision of Decca Records. And Zacharias released one album in 1971, but the story goes that it was retracted because Zacharias, or Robert Haumer as he was called, didn't have a working permit in the UK. He was from Austria, so the record didn't do well and disappeared, and the originals are of course way out of reach price-wise these days. So this is a nice unofficial reissue of that album. It will have to do, because I think originals cost about $2,000-3,000 or $2,500 euros or so. Quite ridiculous price, but excellent album, quite unlike anything else I ever heard. So, well, as I mentioned, I've been to a couple of record shows or record fairs. Last weekend in Oslo at the Rockefeller Music Hall. Twice each year they arrange a big record show. Many vendors and wow, so many records to drool over, many crates to dig in. But I picked up some nice reissues from some of the vendors and a couple of nice originals as well. So I'll just flip through them and perhaps you find something of interest. First of all, this one you all know, it's been shown quite a bit in the VC, JK and Company, and his only album, I believe, Suddenly One Summer from 1968. Excellent psychedelic record. I guess the story goes that JK as it was called was 15 years old when this was recorded. This is a nice Sunday's reissue on a nice yellowy orange opaque see-through vinyl. Sounds quite marvelous. So glad to finally have that in my collection, even if it's a reissue. So JK and Company, first off today. Another brand new reissue from the UK on the label Morgan Blue Town. Bobak, Johns Malone, three accomplished musicians who decided to collaborate after hours in the studio and recorded this wonderful slice of psychedelia. If you haven't heard Bobak, Johns Malone, I urge you to check out this album Mother Light. And some of the highlights are the title track Mother Light and my favorite, On a Meadow Lay. Wonderful, dreamy British side. From 69, I believe, yes. Quality reissue on the Morgan Blue Town label. a heavy hitter, krautrock, double album from Tomorrow's Gift, hard and heavy progressive rock from Germany. Wonderful, accomplished musicians, and this double album has no fillers at all. It's hard and heavy, melodic, and intricate, and it's so cool. I urge you to check out this one. Originally on the Plus Minus label, but this is a reissue on long hair, and they always do a marvelous job. Remastered, high quality pressing, and of course a booklet inside. So well, you can safely buy long hair reissues. Another grail for many people is the Soul album, I believe, by the band called, let me get it out from the plastic, called Tractor. Now I saw Ron from the Hogs Air Report show this in his one of his recent videos. I believe this is the same reissue on blue vinyl. Limited run of 175 copies, and this is number 134. And excellent, hard and heavy, psychedelic, folky, proggish album, everything you just love. And they have reproduced the original Dandelion label, which the record was originally released on. Heavy blue vinyl. Sounds awesome, so get it while you can. This is an awesome album as well. Very unlike anything you heard, I suspect. Well, just show this quickly. A fresh reissue of Manuel Götzing's Inventions for Electric Guitar. I just had to have this because I'm a Manuel Götzing fan. Have all Ashra Temple records, so of course I have to have his solo albums. A fresh reissue of Brain Ticket's Celestial Ocean, their third album from 1973. You know, the ones who had that album called Cottonwood Hill. Excellent krautrock. Another high quality reissue, but from the mid-90s. Limited to 800 copies, Fuzzy Duck. Of course I want this on the original MAM label, but they are scarce and expensive. But this is awesome, hard and heavy, progressive rock from the early 70s. I guess you know about Fuzzy Duck. A little Scandinavian gem is, just let me remove some stickers here. Moses, a Danish power trio from the late 60s, early 70s. They released only this album called Changes on the tiny label Spectator Records. But this is a reissue on Valhalla, an unofficial reissue. That's what Valhalla Records do. Unofficial reissues, but hard and heavy blues rock from 1970, I think, from Denmark. Excellent stuff. This has been shown quite a lot in the VC, and this is the Record Store Day 2018 reissue of the Ends Introspection, coupled with Retrospection, unreleased tracks, which I believe was meant for a second album. This is of course whimsical, excellent British psychedelia produced by Bill Wyman. Now on to some originals from the Rockefeller Record Show. Finally I found the last album by the Pink Fairies, which I didn't have in my collection. What a bunch of sweeties, original Polydor issue. I just love the Pink Fairies, and I saw Jay from Vinyl in the Van show this in one of his recent videos. So excellent stuff, Jay. Perhaps you know about these guys, the Groundhogs. Their 1971 album called Split. Excellent blues rock with the guitar player Tony McPhee, released on the Black Liberty label, for those who care. I do care about labels, even though Vinyl Richie doesn't. I like nerding about different labels and issues, even though the music's the most important. Now, Derek Fisher showed in his last video, I believe, a band called Day Blindness. And the day after I had seen that video, I was in Oslo, and this album stared right back at me. Day Blindness. One album band from, I believe he said Texas, who released an album on the Studio 10 label, which I never heard about. But if I hadn't seen Derek's video, I would just have passed by this album, and thankfully, thanks to Derek, I had seen the record and heard him talking about it, so I grabbed it. This is an original from 1969. And it's in places it's great, and other places it's good. Sort of late 60s hard-edged psychedelia with some cheesy Vox organ and heavy guitars. Excellent stuff. So thanks to Derek for showing that one. Another US hard and heavy blues rock, not classic but obscure gem, is the Floating Bridge. And I managed to pick up an original UK copy of this gem on the Blue Liberty label. And I was told that this has an extra track compared to the US Vault issue. I don't know which track is extra on here, but perhaps you could tell me. If the camera picks it up, here's the track listing. I guess it's too dark here in Norway. Well, anyhow, Floating Bridge, excellent hard and heavy blues rock. Another excellent American Psych album I finally found an original copy of, The Savage Resurrection. And of course you all know The Savage Resurrection. It has some moments of greatness and some fillers, I think, but the great parts are really, really great. But some of the blues tracks on here are less inspired to my ears anyway. Well, another heavy blues rock oriented British band is Tramline, and I believe this is their first album called Somewhere Down the Line, and they do an awesome cover version of Rock and Roll Woman by the Buffalo Springfield. I guess it's Buffalo Springfield, or yes, on the original upside down, the very rare upside down pressing, the Island label. So this is excellent stuff. If you like a bit of psych-tinged hard and heavy blues rock from the late 60s, Tramline might be something for you. Well, let's see how we're doing for time. Perhaps I'll split this into two parts. I guess we're in for the long haul if I'm going to show all records in one video. Last one from Rockefeller Music Hall is an original Swedish prog rock monster. And I've shown this album before, after I went to Gothenburg last summer and picked up a reissue. I've seen this go for about 600 euros here in Scandinavia, but I picked it up for quite cheap, I think. It's an original of Pantarei, with that wonderful cover of a man, naked skinhead with a Marlboro packet and 2 cats. This is just wonderful, hard-edged Swedish prog at its best. On the Harvest label, actually. So I'm so pleased to finally have Pantarei, which means everything's floating in English. Pantarei is of course Latin. So if you haven't heard Pantarei and you like hard prog from the early 70s, check him out. You can find the album on YouTube, I guess. Well, I have so many records to show, so I guess I'll split this video into 2 parts. So enjoy your evening, and hope to see you for part 2 of my record vinyl collection update. Sorry. Bye for now.